Okay, I hit record.
Okay, people are showing up. Should I go ahead and start admitting people?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Henry, welcome. Hey, Dan's note taker.
Should be more than my note taker.
Oh, that's all I see. Do you have your video off?
Yes, I do have my video off at the moment.
Okay, that might be why I can't see you. Hi, Amy. Welcome.
Hi. Do you guys want us to go on video or because it sometimes messes up my quality pretty badly?
It's your call.
Okay.
It's your call. We have quite a few folks signed up, so I think it's fine, to have the video turned off. We're going to give people a few minutes. We've got this scheduled for an hour, so plan to give everybody a couple minutes to get in, and then we'll launch into it, and there'll be plenty of time for Q&A at the end as well. Must have a lot of people with their, so, oh, we see we have 11 participants. I don't see their pictures. Okay. All right, well, while we're waiting, maybe you can put in the chat where you're dialing in from. And that way we can kind of get to know each other a little bit better. And if you brought a friend, please let us know. Dallas, wonderful. What's the weather like in Dallas right now?
It's really nice, sunny outside. Really beautiful spring day.
Oh, gotta love spring. Yeah, it's finally decided to be spring here. It's like it was warm in March, and then early April was like almost like winter again. We had snow and cold temperatures, and now it's shorts weather, and and that's here in Durango, Colorado. Hey, JT, welcome. Boise, Idaho. Nice. The Bridge Youth and Family Resource Center. Very cool. Very, very cool. And what is your mission at the Bridge Youth and Family Resource Center? Oh, I think you're muted.
Yep. So we do screening and assessment of youth and families that are maybe struggling, that we can help them get resources in the community and keep them out of the juvenile justice and child welfare systems.
Oh, very, very nice. Very nice.
Early intervention prevention program.
Oh, I'm happy we're able to support you on that wonderful mission. That's amazing.
We
Hey,
are
Steve, welcome.
super thrilled.
Yeah. Please put in the chat where you're joining us from, please. From Colorado. Oh, that's great. I think I did know you're from Colorado. Whereabouts? Are you from the Front Range?
We are. We're up north of Greeley, near in a town called Eaton.
Nice. Nice. Is the wind calmed down out there?
It's still windy.
Still windy? Yeah. Springtime, right?
Yeah, and Whit, I know I've connected with you some on email.
Yes, it's nice to see you today.
All right, we'll just give it another minute and then we'll get started. We had 50 people register for this, so really, really good interest. I'm really excited to share this with you. There will be a recording that will be available after, so you'll have access to that. Let's see. And because of the number of people, once we get started, we're gonna ask everybody keep your mute on, just to kind of keep the background noise down a little bit. You know, when you're on a meeting with a lot of people, it can be a distraction if there's a lot of background noise. But, you know, if we end up at the Q&A, if you end up having, you know, a question, you know, you can certainly unmute at that point. And please feel free to ask questions in the chat as we go along. And you know what? It's 5 after. Let's go ahead and get started. Right. So this is what we're going to cover today. It's an hour-long discussion, and we're going to give you a little bit of background about, you know, who we are and where we're from, and then we'll go into the demo. There should be plenty of time for Q&A, and then we'll talk about some next steps. So for those who may not be as familiar with Agolix, I wanted to let you know our mission is to help save you time by automating assessments and providing actionable insights for both you and your respondents. We have been in business since 2004 and were previously known as Assessment Generator. We had a rebrand a couple years ago, and under the current ownership, Agolix has been since 2016. Quickly introduce our team. For those I haven't had the pleasure of working with yet, my name is Jennifer Sparks, and I'm the CEO. And together with my husband, Whit, we are the co-founders of this company. Whit is the CTO and has written almost all the code in our baseline. If you've had the pleasure of working with Annette and Kalicia, you know that they are pretty amazing at helping people with questions and making sure that Agolix can solve the issue that they're trying to solve. The latest addition to our team is Adam. He's a senior software developer, and he has done the most work in getting this block editor to life with help from Whit. So let's talk about the new block editor. So what makes it great is it gives you complete control over your assessment reports. It's customizable, it provides more freedom to showcase your branding, and it's easy to use and maintain. And this update is all about trying to meet you with your vision for PDF reports and help you bring it to life. It is available now. We released it on April 2nd, and all new assessments created in your account will use the block editor. New accounts that have been created since we released this will also include sample assessments that demonstrate the block editor. In addition, any existing reports that you have in your account can be converted to the block editor with a simple button click, and we'll get into that more later. So let's launch into the demo. I'm gonna change screens here. All righty. So this is one of the example assessments that's probably in your account. Like I said, depending upon when you created your account, it may have be set up with the legacy editor, or it may be set up with the block editor. This one, for the sake of this demo, is set up with the block editor, with a report created from scratch. And so we are going to walk through how we create it. I have some content in there just to make this go a little bit quicker. But it should be enough to demonstrate how you can build it in your own account. So for those that are familiar with Agolix, the way it's set up is we have these tabs across the top. The first is the setup tab, where you can put your title and your branding, your social media specifics and settings. If it's a type or multi-type assessment, then you'll have your types or categories and the type descriptions in there to provide feedback based on how your respondent answers the questions. Then we have a questions tab where you can assign questions to points and to different types. The style tab where you can specify how you want your assessment to look. And then we got the results tab, and this is how people can receive their results. And so if you go down to where it says how respondents receive their results, there's an option for as a PDF. So with new assessments, if you click this button, it will take you to the block editor. So here we are. So let me give you a little bit of the layout here so you get familiarize yourself with how it's set up. So the first new thing is that under document settings, you can choose the size of your document. For now, we have letter and A4, so we can help with international standards if someone wants an A4 document. We might end up, adding other options in as time goes on, but for start, that's where we are. You can, if you have an advanced or higher subscription, you can include a cover page, a header, footer, and new with this editor, you can include an end page. You have access to page margins so that the content, you can decide where the content fits on each page. So you get top margin, right margin, bottom margin, left margin. So you can specify what those are. And then in addition, you can set a background image. So right now we're in the report body, which is the first tab that you'll see when you bring it up. Normally this would be blank. We have some content in here, like I said, and I've already set up a background image for the report body. But let's go into build mode, shall we? So let's start by adding a cover page. And what you'll notice is that you start out with a blank page that all it has on it is this little blue plus. And that's just your cue for how you can add blocks. We're going to start by adding a background image for our cover page. And so this works just like it does now, where you go into your media library and you pull in the graphic that you'd like. So here you can see we got our background image in here for this is again for the cover page, and we want to add some other things. So let's start by adding our first block. So you click on the blue plus, and this modal window opens up. And you have your choice of what kind of block you want to enter, you want to select. So there's a text block, there's an image block, there's a chart, a numeric score, questions and responses, score-based feedback, a button, and there's also layout blocks. So you can control the layout of your PDF by, for example, if you want multiple columns, like 2 columns, you can have 2 equal-sized columns or 2 unequal-sized columns, like 40-60 or 60-40. So that would mean that in this case, that the left column would be smaller than the right column, for example. We also offer page breaks and dividers. So for where we are now in this building this report, we're going to want to add a logo. So let's add an image. Once we do that, we click close. And then you'll see that this placeholder has been put there. This does not reflect the size of whatever image you're going to put in there. It's just a place to show you that you've set aside space for something to go in there. In this case, it's an image. So let's go ahead and add the image. We click on the little pencil icon here, and then it gives you an opportunity to upload an image. And so I'll bring up our logo. And so you can see it's already kind of populated in there, and we're going to align it to the left. And let's make it a little bit narrower. So we'll make it 90 millimeters instead of 100. And if you wanted to set a URL so that when somebody clicks that, it goes to your website, you could do that. We also have control over the margins. So let's see, let's move it a little bit to the left because we want it to be a little bit further over on the page. And so we're gonna actually use a negative margin for this. It's going to give you a little error. That's just so you know what's happening, but it's totally allowed. And so you can see it moved things over to the left a little bit. The only way this would cause you problems is you might edit the top or bottom margin using negative margins, and it might overlap another block. So that's the only reason we put that warning there. And so now if we do save, you can see it's in a pretty good spot. In addition, you can mouse over the block and there's like a down arrow here. So you can move it into place the way you'd like that way. Now we're going to add a text block. We're going to put add the title of the assessment and some personal information that we want on the cover. So we add another block. This time we're going to add a text block and we hit close. And you'll notice that it puts it immediately underneath where you are. And you can change that with the margins, but that's the default. And so we're going to go in here and we're going to edit it. And so we're going to add in the title of our assessment, and I'm just going to paste it in here. And let's see, I want to make it bigger, so you set the size. I want to set the color, more colors, and so I'll copy and paste the hex code that I want in there. And let's make it italic. And then we want to right justify this. So we have that, and we want to add a little bit more. We would like to add, let's say we want to add the first name and last name of the respondent. And let's put it back to black. So one of the cool things here is we have access to a list of merge codes that you can add. So we have ones affiliated with the assessment, with the date, and the user. So we could put the first name in there, and then let's add the last name, and then let's add the date. And there's multiple formats you can use for the date. So we'll just put that one in there. And let's see where it ends up. All right, looks good. We just need to adjust the position. So we're gonna modify, we'll close the merge codes here. We're gonna edit the margins. We want it to be further down on the page where that white space is. So we're gonna add some margin in here. We'll call it 100. And I'm also gonna use a negative margin here on the right just to get it over to the right a little bit more. And then we save that, and that looks pretty good. So you wanna see how it looks as a report? We got this quick preview button. And so you can click on that, and it will show you how your cover page looks and the report that you have so far. So let's go back, and we're going to go back to the report body, and we're going to add some more blocks. I mentioned that we have the possibility of handling multiple columns. So let's do that. And actually, I forgot real quick. Let's do the header and footer. So you can add a header from the right here. And you can add the footer from here, or you can add it from here. It looks a lot like the current editor, so hopefully that's familiar to you. We included these little tables to make it easier for you to put content where you want it, either on the left, the center, or the right of your page. There's also special merge codes for the header and footer that you can add. And so that makes it easy. So you can just add somebody's first name and last name that way. You can also specify how far you want your header to be from the top margin, for example, and how far you want it to be from the bottom margin. So, if you have a background image that might be interfering with your text, you can make the adjustment here. All right, we'll go back to the report body, and we're gonna add some multiple columns. So let's go here. And we're going to add a 40/60 layout block. And so here you can see there's two places for content, one on the left with a smaller column and the one on the right that's a larger column. On the left, we want to add an image. So we put an image block in there, and you can see that there's a placeholder for an image. We want to put text on the right. So we select a text block and put that in there. Again, this is not reflective of how much space it's going to take up. It's just a placeholder. But then we can go in and we can actually add the image that we want. And again, this goes to the media library, just like you have in the rest of Agolix. So let me add the infographic. And we put that in there, and we'll hit save. So you can see it shows up right there, and then we still have the text to add. So we'll go in there, and this window probably looks a lot like what you've seen before. And so we'll copy and paste the text in there that we want. And voila, there we go. Now I'd like to add a little bit of space between the image and the text. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change the left margin and put 5 millimeters in there. And that just gives a little bit more breathing room between the two. And then, you know, now it's like, oh, now I want this image to be down a little bit lower. So we'll add a top margin of 6. And there we go. In addition, you can drag and drop blocks. So when you go up here, you see this icon here on the left. You can bring that down and put it where you want it. There we go. So we got that first. And then we're going to add a page break. Go in here, just add a page break, and boom. And that just means you're going to start a new page when you get to this point. So again, let's do a quick preview and see what we've got so far. So we got a cover page. We've got our introduction and background, and then we got a page break, and then we got a space to put our results. So now let's go in, and underneath results, we're going to add our numeric scores. And then we hit close. You can see there's a placeholder for our numeric scores. Again, not reflective necessarily of how big that space is going to take up on your report. You can go in there and see specifications that you can designate. If you want to add the sum, you can check that. And then you also have access to, you know, margins and paddings as well. So under the numeric scores, let's add a chart. So the chart is actually specified under the types tab currently. And so this is putting that chart in place. For this particular assessment, it is a radial bar chart. And so we're going to go ahead and do a quick preview and see how that looks. All right, so we got our introduction, we got our background, we got our table with the scores in it, and then we've got our chart. But it would be really nice if that chart was just a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and edit it. So when you mouse over the chart, click the little blue pencil, and let's make it 300 millimeters, right? And you know what? Let's also put a little bit of space between the numeric scores and the chart. All right, now let's see how that looks. And that looks a lot better, right? So you have a lot of flexibility as to, you know, you could align it left, align it right, up, down, and you can do the sizing. All right, so now let's add, we're going to add another page break. And then we're going to add the score-based feedback. So add that in here. And here, in this case, is the type assessment. So it's type descriptions that we're going to be, that's going to be shown here. But you have some flexibility as to what you want shown. So let's say you have, you know, 10 types. You want to show the 2 highest scoring types. You can enter a 2 here, and it will do that. You could also do the 2 or 3 or 4 lowest types, or just 1 if you want. For what we're going to do here, let's do all of them. And again, you have access to margins and padding, so you can control the positioning of it. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. So you can see we have our type descriptions here. And then we go into next steps. All right, so let's go down. And, you know, this all looks pretty good. You know what, this image is a little close to this text. Let's see if we can move that down a little bit, give it a little bit more breathing room. Now it looks a little better. Let's add a button, call to action. So we got a button, and we have a placeholder button here that you can then edit. So you can put whatever text you want in here. So let's call it book your consultation. You can put a link to your calendar to go there. And you can control the size of it, border radius, padding, the alignment, the text color. And let's change the background color. Let's see. You can do RGB, HSL, or hex. I've always been partial to hex. So let's do 222 4F. Oops, I think I typed it wrong, didn't I? Try again. A222 4F. There we go. Again, you got margins and padding, so you can adjust it. So we can move it down a little bit. You know, want to add a little bit more space, you can add it like that. Once again, let's do a quick preview. And the quick preview is mainly to just give you a feel for what it's going to look like. It's immediate feedback. Okay, I just did this thing. How's it really going to look? Is it the same as how I think it looks? And so I think this is in good shape. So one other feature that you might like to know about is the end page. And we talked about that, and you can just add that here, and it creates a new page here. And just like before, you can add a background image. So you can have a separate background image than you do for, say, the cover page or the body of your report. And if you don't want one, it's really easy. You can just undo it. And you can also, of course, add like text blocks and other things like that. We also have this scoring preview, which when you're going to add like your numeric scores and your feedback and the chart, you want to really get a sense of like, okay, how will it do if somebody answers like this? You can click on the scoring preview and you can enter the scores that you want, and it will show you the results based on that. If you're just interested in how it looks in general, the quick preview is where you want to go. All right, well, that's what I have for that. But let me show you, I'm sure some of you are wondering, well, I've been with you for a while. I've got a bunch of reports set up with the legacy editor, and I'd like to switch over. So you can do that. So here's one that was created from before. And when you go to the report tab and scroll all the way down, there is this orange block that says you can convert it to the block editor. And so you can click on that, and it will take your content in there. And did I not click it? Uh-oh. Oh, you know what? I got locked out. Hold on. Let me try something different.
It seems like you're locked out. If you need assistance with account access or troubleshooting, please let me know how I can help.
All right, so here we are, and I just converted this to the block editor. Now, there's going to be some differences. We tried to get this as close as we possibly could, but like you can see in this case, the text is just a little bit overlapping the graphic. So in that case, you can just move it down a little bit and get it out of the way, and then it looks fine. And you may find that on some of your other pages too, that that you run into that. So let's take a look of how it looks, this other assessment with yeah, so that looks really good. And then all the pages line up. Yeah, so that's as easy as it is. Again, you may need to play with the margins just to get everything to line up specific to how you have it set up in the legacy editor. But it should work. It should work the way you expect it to. So with that, I'd like to open it up for questions. Let's see, Whit, do you have questions for us?
Yes, Steve Brown just asked if a chart can be adjusted. Steve, can you describe a little bit more what kind of adjustments you'd like to make?
Would it be possible for me to share my screen?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me make sure I can see everything. Here we go. So let me go with participants chat, raise hands, whiteboard more. Okay, I guess on here, I don't have the option to share. Whiteboards, apps. Oh, here it is right in front of me. Are you seeing something that says navigators preference inventory?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm going to hit quick preview. And this chart here
Mhm.
I think this is embedded in the PDF, so I'm not so sure the chart itself can be changed. So that's where my question is. I totally get so far what you talked about on building the report and that kind of thing. Can that actual report be changed? This is showing where people are extroverts and introverts, etc. This is the center line,
Mhm.
and then the scores are on each side.
Hey,
Whit, do you want to take that one?
yeah, thank you. So just looking at that chart, I suspect that we've built a custom chart for you for that. And so why don't you reach out to me directly, or I'll actually send you an email and we can discuss that.
Okay, great. Just a few tweaks I'd like to do more cosmetic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if that's I'm thinking it's kind of probably embedded in the actual software that you've created for us. So thank you.
Yeah,
That's my main question, Written. I look forward to your email to me, and then we'll begin a dialogue.
sounds good. I'll be in touch then.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. And I like to share my screen as well as I'm asking.
Sure.
So I probably need to stop sharing and
Yep.
So I just sent a request.
Yep. I see it.
So, Jen, are you waiting for me to? Yeah, okay, let me see. I'm on number 3. There we go. Share. Okay, so can you let me know when you could see it?
Yeah. Assure coaching.
Yeah, so this is as the date on there. This is a very old report. This is something I had 10 years ago, but I never was able to get it done with the previous company, and I made some attempts to work with Wit to do it this time around and couldn't get it done. But it looks like with the new reporting, you may be able to do it primarily. And I'm gonna show you this one real quick, and then I'll show you what I'm doing with your reporting. So this is what I initially envisioned is being able to share my each of the candidates' results like this. So I have a sort of a two-prong assessment where they give, um, let's say, three traits and then three traits here and then three sub traits. And we're able to capture all that thanks to Wit and his programming. But in order for them to get that currently, I'm gonna pull up the. Can you see the new screen now?
No, just the report.
You don't see your report like a Agolix report? If not, I may have to reshare or something.
No, I see your archetype profiles report.
Okay, let me reshare because it won't let. I have to. If I share a new report, it says. There we go. So that's the new. That's the one I'm currently using right here. This is the Agolix. Um, when a client gets a report now, I have to give them. I have 7 markers that I assess for, and I have to give them. I really want the top 3, but I have to give them all of it because we weren't at a point when I first engaged with you guys to just single out the top 3 through dynamic reporting. So I guess my question now is with the dynamic reporting, will it allow me now to leave out the other 4 and just
Yes.
put 3? Great. That's so. And I'll rewatch your video and I'll reach out to you for any details on that. Okay, great. Excellent.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Yeah, you just go into the score-based feedback and then you can select it, but definitely rewatch the video and reach out when you have questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, wait, do we have any questions from the chat that we want to bring up?
Angelique asked if when you convert your old report to the block editor, if the old report is lost. it isn't. You can revert anytime, but just keep in mind that if you convert it and then you make some changes using the block editor and then revert it back to the old editor, anything you did in the block editor will be lost. So yes, you can switch back to your original report at any time.
And yeah, I guess
Yeah,
you
if
could just
you're
do a copy if you really wanted to
Mhm.
play
Yeah,
with it.
you
if
can.
you,
Yeah. Okay.
that's what I'd recommend is when you're becoming familiar with it and you're not sure if you want to stay with the legacy editor or go with the block editor, make a copy of your working assessment and then convert that one to the block editor and then play with that until you get it to where you want. And then you can either go back and arrange, edit the first one or just run with the new one that you have.
Okay. I have another question. It may or may not be related to this because I was 20 minutes late for this meeting. Is there in any kind of capacity for the reports to be limited? Let's say somebody takes a report and you just want to give them their dominant types. And to upgrade the report where they get all their types for a fee or whatever, you don't want to have to make them take the test again. Can you program it so that you can always reveal more based on the same data that they present?
That's actually a feature that we have on our development timeline, but we don't currently have it yet. So it's something that's been asked for before and we are monitoring it. We have a couple other exciting features that we've got that are going to be coming out sooner than that, but that's definitely
On the roadmap.
it sure is. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure thing. Any other questions from the chat or otherwise?
No, I don't have anything else in the chat right now.
Okay. Any other questions that from people here that I'm looking at? Anybody? It looks like Robert. Let's see. Can you have, depending on the dynamic outcomes, have different subset outcomes? For example, if you are archetypes X and have score between 30 and 40, you get outcome 30 to 40. And if you have a score between 20 and 30, you get outcome 20 and 30. I'm not 100% sure that I understand where you're coming from on this. I think the answer is yes. That you can set up score bands for your assessment.
Yeah, sorry, I can maybe do it in explain a little. So if you have a certain outcome on X, and either you scores between 30 and 40, you get a certain presentation on the results, or if it's let's say lower between 20 and 30, you get a different, let's say.
Yeah. So I think you'd want
accent.
a multi-type assessment for that, because then you can set up different types and then provide score-based feedback within each type.
But I mean, it's you are the same type, but depending on your score, you are a little bit more of it or a little bit less of it. Understanding? So you're both X, but you're X extreme or X medium, and you have also I high, I medium. So but depends. So it's the same in a way, because otherwise, if you have, for example, 4 archetypes with 3 different layers of it, you get in a way 12 different outcomes, and that's not what I'm trying to make in a way.
So maybe a simple assessment.
Sorry?
A single. How many? So your whole assessment is going to create one score. Like they answer all the questions and they get a single score, and then you would like to provide different feedback depending upon whether they scored high, medium, or low. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So,
but for example, you have within you have 4 different, let's say, flavors, I would say. But within the flavor, you have, let's say, that you are extremely high on that flavor, or medium high on that flavor, or something like that. And then
so each flavor would get its own score. Then is
Yeah.
that right?
And then
So
within
that would
the
be
flavor.
Yes, that would be a multi-type assessment, and you can set it up that way so that if they score high on flavor A, they get this output. If they score medium on flavor A, they get this output. And
Okay.
then same for all your other flavors.
And then you can get that in the result in the report, depending on, let's say that. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I just saw also, I want to say that I love your product. I mean, I see it really as an improvement, I would say. So it's really a good, really nice one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been working really hard on this, and it's been
Yeah.
a long time coming. So we're really excited to share this all with you.
Yeah, can imagine. Great job.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, well, I want to respect your time. I can stay on. We'll stop the recording, but if anybody wants to stay on for some other questions, we can do that for a little while longer. I really appreciate you joining us for this. Let me switch to next steps. I lost my screen here. So let me share. We'll wrap this up. All right, so we did demo, we did questions. So next step. So I believe most of you already have accounts with us, and I'm really excited for you to try this within your account and let us know what you think. If you're new or you haven't been with us for a while and you want to try a new free trial, feel free, a 2-week free trial of our advanced features, and that will give you access to all the stuff that we talked about today. We're happy to stay on and answer more questions, but if you have them after this, our team is always ready to help. You can drop us an email at success@agolix.com or set up a meeting with one of our experts. In addition, all of this is documented in our user guide, so please feel free to check that out if you have any easy questions that you think don't warrant setting up a meeting. We want to get you the help as fast as humanly possible. So hopefully through one of those channels, you'll be able to get your questions answered. And yeah, and let us know what you think. We'd love to see what more we can add to this to make it even more useful for you. Anything else? All right. Well, let's wrap this up then. Thank you so much. And I hope that I can look forward to seeing you at future webinars. Like I said, this is our first one ever, and we're hoping to do these on a regular basis. We'll be sending out a short